many years, BICC Pyro 10X mineral insulated cables have been used extensively worldwide in situations where their unique properties make them the ideal choice. They're easy to install, water, oil and gas tight, fireproof and extremely robust. So popular are they, in fact, that every day electrical engineers worldwide are installing many hundreds of thousands of metres of them. Well, that's an awful lot of cable, and it all has to be installed correctly. So just how do professional engineers go about the job of installation? Well, the methods will vary according to the particular project and of course to the site. And in order to establish a standard of installation practice, we asked NG Bailey, one of Britain's largest electrical engineering and contracting companies, to tell us how they trained their students in the use of Pyro 10X cables. I have with me now Alan Walker, Associate Director and Craft Training Manager for NG Bailey. He's responsible for the recruitment, training and welfare of all the company's apprentices nationwide. Alan, I think it's generally recognised that your company sets a standard of excellence in training electrical engineers that's pretty hard to beat.
Well, we certainly like to think so. The training programmes that we run cater for an annual intake of approximately 140 students. Each student completes 24 weeks of off-the-job training during each of the first 2 years. 12 weeks each year are normally spent at one of our own training centres, with the balance being spent at the local technical colleges. We do pride ourselves on providing these young people with training of an extremely high standard. It benefits their own future careers and ensures that we as a company have personnel with a comprehensive range of skills suitable for the wide variety of projects they are likely to undertake working for Bailey's.
So does working with mineral insulated cable form a significant part of the training?
The initial study of MI cable installation takes place in the student's first year, and then we expand on it in the second year. The time spent on this subject is quite considerable and combines classroom-based theory with practical exercises in installation. It's a significant element in the training programme and forms a key part of the student's formal examinations at the end of training.
Talk me through the practical aspects of installation. Perhaps you could bring out the points that you'd emphasise to the students. It's probably a good place to start. The arrival of the cable on site from the local wholesaler. How is Pyro 10X cable handled on site?
The cable arrives either in coil form or on reels. The popular sizes are normally supplied as 100 metre long, half-metre diameter coils. We emphasise that it is important to avoid kinking the cable when placing it in position by simply keeping it straight as it's being rolled out. If the cable is in coil form, then it can be rolled out along the route, or a payoff reel may be used. If the cable is supplied on plywood reels, then these can be placed on drum stands for easier handling, and then the cables can be easily pulled off. It is important to avoid abrasion from rough ground on site. MI cable is handled like any other cable when it comes to pulling it through ducts or installing it on cable tray.
Presumably you have to train the students about various different kinds of installation.
Yes, we train them so that they can fix the cables correctly in all locations. Students have to be fully conversant with all types of surface mounting, installations on cable tray, installations in ceiling voids, false ceilings or floors, how to bury the cables in plaster, concrete or underground.
I can see that cables sometimes have to follow very difficult routes. Do the students receive any training in the use of tools for these purposes?
Well, the majority of MI cables are easily bent by hand. To produce perfectly neat, symmetrical bends, our students practice the use of the roller straightener and the bending tools to help form the cable prior to fixing. Students also practice final dressing of the cables using a soft face mallet.
Well, we've seen some Pyro 10X cables being fixed. What are the points about fixing that you need to consider?
It is feasible to fix the cable with plastic cable ties and clips similar to those used with plastic cables. However, it is more common practice to secure the cables with metal fixings, either single-way clips or two-way saddles or copper fixing strip for multiple cable runs. We draw our students' attention to the fixing distances specified in the relevant table of the IEE wiring regulations. This shows MI cables require fewer fixings than plastic cable. It's a cost saving.
When I've been shown site work, I've sometimes seen long lengths of cable, quite extensive amounts really, left at termination points. Is this absolutely necessary?
No, it's not, and as it is important to minimise wastage on site, we train our students carefully in this respect. When MI cables are cut and the insulant exposed to the atmosphere, then moisture will enter the cable. Sometimes it's a misconception that the moisture will penetrate a long way into the cable. This is not true. Even after many months exposure, moisture will not penetrate more than 200 millimetres into the cable. The installer therefore only needs to allow sufficient cable to form the conducting tails. Leaving more is wasteful and unnecessary. For the same reason, there is absolutely no point going to the cost and trouble of temporarily sealing the cables which are intended for storage.
Right, now we've got the cable fixed. How do we terminate it?
Terminating is an easy procedure, but one that must be understood and performed correctly. We train our people using what is called a standard termination. This incorporates a seal and a gland, and the seal separates and insulates the conductors and prevents moisture ingress, and the gland is for mechanical entry and earthing.
And does the standard termination cater for all situations?
Our students are trained to work on all types of projects: oil and petrochemical, commercial, industrial, public and private sector, and can use MI cable systems in any environment without any additional training. Usually the standard gland and seal is suitable, although they are aware that other glands and seals are available for non-standard applications.
Well, thanks very much indeed, Alan, and of course our thanks to NG Bailey for giving us the opportunity to visit one of the training centres.